So, from Hawaii, from the island of Maui, Maui no Kauai, there's none better. I was sitting at a table by an open bay, waiting for a drink of rum. When I asked my waiter for the time of day, he said, "Look out, there's a centipede coming your way in Lahaina." Lahaina, living is slow in Lahaina. Living is slow in Lahaina. Mangoes are sweet, but the centipede crawls all over your feet. Do-do, 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 do-do. I was lying by the water in the morning sun, shaded by an coconut tree. When I looked around, it was all I could see. There was a great big centipede staring at me in Lahaina. Sugar cane grow in Lahaina. Living is slow in Lahaina. Mangoes are sweet, but the centipede crawls all over your feet. I had only just a second to decide what to do while looking at his poisonous fangs. When I said I thought it was a beautiful day, he said, "Oh, well, Mrs. Abby, think you pulling my leg in Lahaina? Sugar cane grow in Lahaina. Living is slow in Lahaina. Mangoes are sweet, but the centipede crawls all over your feet." Do-do, 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 do-do.
Not a song. It's going to be a story about a new store that just opened in New York City. And New York City, the Big Apple, it's a great place to visit, great place to see all the good things. And this is what we're going to see. It's a brand new store that just opened in New York City. And it's called the Husband Store. Yes. You can go into this store and buy yourself a husband. But when you choose a husband, you have to follow instructions, because we don't want a mad rush into this store. No, you follow the instructions at the entrance, and you can only enter this store one time. There are 6 floors, and the value of the product increases as you go up to number 6. Now, you may choose any item from a particular floor, or you can choose to go up to the next floor. But you cannot go back down unless you're going to exit the store. So a woman goes into the husband floor to find herself a husband. And the first floor sign reads, "Floor 1, these men have jobs." The second floor sign reads, "These men have jobs and love kids." The third floor sign reads, "These men have jobs, love kids, and are extremely good looking." She says. But she's compelled to keep going. She goes to the 4th floor. The sign reads here, "Fourth floor. These men have jobs, love kids, are drop dead good looking, and help with the housework." "Oh, mercy me," she says. "This is fantastic. I can hardly stand it." Still, she goes up to the 5th floor, and the sign reads, "Floor 5. These men have jobs, love kids, are drop dead gorgeous, help with the housework, and have a strong romantic streak." She's so tempted to say, there and says, but you know what? I gotta go up to that 5th floor. And up she goes, she said, she gets up to floor 6, and floor 6 has a sign. And it says, "You are visitor 31,456,012 to get to this floor. And there are no men on this floor. This floor exists solely as proof that women are impossible to please." Thank you for shopping at the husband store. Now, to avoid gender bias, the owner says, "You know what? I'm going to open another store for the women, and we're going to put the new wives store across the street. Same rules, same number of floors, etc. The first floor, you walk in there, and there's a sign that reads, 'This floor has wives who love sex.'" The second floor has wives who love sex and have money. The 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th floors have never been visited.
Guess mine's not the first heart broken. My eyes are not the first to cry. Not the first to know. There's just no getting over you. I know I'm just a fool who's willing to sit around and wait for you. But baby, can't you see there's nothing else for me to do? Devoted. Where am I since you pushed my love aside? I'm out of my head. I'm hopelessly devoted to you. Hopelessly devoted to you. Hopelessly devoted to you. My head is saying, "Fool, forget him." My heart is saying, "Don't let go." Hold on to the end. That's what I intend to do. I'm hopelessly devoted to you. But now there's nowhere to hide since you pushed my love aside. I'm out of my head. Hopelessly devoted to you. Hopelessly devoted to you. Hopelessly devoted to you.
Okay. My family started, this poem was written in 1907, and in the 20s, my grandmother taught it to my father by saying, Sam McGee, and he would say from Tennessee. And then back in the 50s, down in Pacific Beach at the fire pits, we would all sit around and remember as much of this poem as we could. And so it's definitely a favorite of mine. Now, Sam, there are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who mold for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that will make your blood run cold. The northern lights have queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was the night on the marge at Lake LaBarge. I cremated Sam McGee. Now, Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton bloomed and blowed. Why he left his home in the South, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell. And he'd often say in his homely way, he'd sooner live in hell. On a Christmas day, we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. Talk of your cold through the parka's fold, it stabbed like a driven nail. Our eyes would close and lashes froze till sometimes we couldn't see. But the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. And that very night, as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, the dogs were fed and the stars overhead were dancing heel and toe. He turned to me and, "Cap," said he, "I think I'm going to cash in this trip, I guess. And if I do, I'm asking that you won't refuse my last request." Well, he seemed so low that I couldn't say no. And then he says, with a sort of moan, "It's the cursed cold that's got right hold till I'm chilled clear through to the bone. Yet it ain't being dead, it's my awful dread of that icy grave that pains. I want you to swear that foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains. And a pal's last need is a thing indeed, and so I swore I would not fail. And we started out at the streak of dawn, but God, he looked awful pale. And he crouched over his sleigh, and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee. And before nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in that land of death, and I hurried, horror-driven, with a corpse half dead that I couldn't get rid because of a promise given. It was slashed to the sleigh, and it seemed to say, "You may tax your brain and brawn, but a promise true, and it's up to you to cremate these last remains. Now, a promise made is a debt unpaid, and the trail has its own stern code. In the days to come, though my lips were numb, in my heart, how I cursed that load. In the long, long night, by the lone starlight, while the huskies in a circle howled out their woes, and the homeless snows, oh God, how I loathe that thing. And every day, that quiet clay seemed heavier and heavier to grow. And on I went, though the dogs were spent, and the grub was running low. And the trail was bad, and I felt half mad, but I swore I would not give in, till I came to the marge at Lake LaBarge. And the derelict there lay. It was jammed in the ice, but I saw at a trice that it was the Alice May. And I looked at it, and I thought a bit, and I looked at my frozen chum, and then here, I said with a sudden cry, is my crematorium. Some planks I tore from the cabin floor, and I lit the boiler fire. And some coal that I found lying around, I heaped the fuel higher. And the flames just soared, and the furnace roared, and such a blaze you seldom see. And I burrowed a hole in the glowing coals, and I stuffed in Sam McGee. Then I took a hike, for I didn't like to hear him sizzle so. And the heavens growled, and the huskies howled, and the wind began to blow. It was icy cold, but a hot sweat rolled down my cheeks, and I didn't know why. I do not know how long in the snow I wrestled with this grisly fear, but the stars came out and danced about, and ere I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, I'll take a peek inside. It's time I looked, for I think he's cooked. And then the door I opened wide. And there sat Sam, cool and calm, in the furnace roar. He wore a smile you could see a mile. And he said, please close that door. It's fine in here, but I greatly fear that you'll let in the cold and storm. Since I left Plum Tree down in Tennessee, it's the first time I've been warm. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who mold for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales to make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights. The queerest they ever did see was the night on the marge at Lake LaBarge. I cremated Sam McGee.
So my mother and father were raised in Windsor, Canada. And in Canada, they had to take French as part of their curriculum when they were growing up. So they learned the song Alouette. And my father used to sing Alouette to me when I was a child, and he changed the story about Alouette. He was singing in French, so I had no idea what he was talking about. And he also changed a lot of the words so that I would learn about the head, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the tail. The actual song Alouette was, after I took French in college, I found out it's a horrific story. Horrific child story, song that is very popular to this day. So Alouette is a lark. And back when it was French Canada, trappers used to ride in their canoes, and they would trap their furs and bring them to a trading post and find new people to work with, and it was a good thing if you could sing, and you knew how to sing these songs, and it whiled the time away as you were rowing and doing your job. So Alouette was about a lark, and they used to trap the larks and eat them. So actually in the song, they're talking about Alouette, gentille Alouette, beautiful little Alouette, jete plumeret. I pluck your feathers. I pluck them from your head. I pluck them from your beak, and I pluck them from your back and your wings, and it goes on and on and on. Well, my father taught it to me differently, so I'm going to do my dad's version. I am going to say jete, which means to pluck. I always thought he was saying gentil, because he explained it to me. He would say, this is about a beautiful little blackbird, and we're singing about how beautiful the feathers are on their head, and how beautiful the feathers are in their eyes, les yeux, and the mouth, le bouche, right? And so I wasn't horrified as a child, but I was horrified when I was about 20 years old and in college, and I learned about jete, not gentil, but jete, to pluck, as I was conjugating verbs. So, I'm going to do my dad's version. I do want you to sing along. Everybody knows Alouette, right? So let's do the pleasant version. I'm only going to do the head, eyes, nose, mouth, and back. Okay? So sing along with me. It's kind of like sing along with Mitch. I wish I had a bouncing ball that you all could follow. But here we go. Before I start, though, it just doesn't feel right. So just a second.
There you go.
Ha ha ha! C'est bon! C'est magnifique! Incroyable! Okay, here we go. Allons-y. Can we make this go up a little bit? Sorry. Okay. I will make it work. Okay, allons-y. Alouette jante. I'm going to start, and then you guys respond. Okay, so let me sing. And then you join in. Alouette jante, alouette. Alouette jante, je te plumerai. Je te plumerai la tête. Alouette. Whoa! Alouette, jante, alouette. Alouette, jante, plumerai. Je te plumerai les yeux. Les yeux. Et la tête. Alouette. Whoa! Alouette, jante, alouette. Alouette, jante, plumerai. Jante, plumerai le nez. Et les yeux. Et la tête. Alouette. Whoa! Alouette, jante, alouette. Alouette, jante, plumerai. Jante, plumerai la bouche. Et le nez. Et les yeux. Et la tête. Alouette. Whoa! Alouette, jante, alouette. Alouette, jante, plumerai. Jante, plumerai le cou. Jante, plumerai le cou. Et la bouche. Et le nez. Et les yeux. Et la tête. Alouette. Whoa! Alouette, jante, alouette. Alouette, jante, plumerai.
As you all know, this is a song about a woman who got rid of her lover and then decided she wants him back. And it goes something like this. Won't you come home, Bill Bailey? Won't you come home? She cried the whole day long. I'll do the cooking, honey. I'll pay the rent. I know I've done you wrong. Remember that rainy evening I threw you out with nothing but a fine-tooth comb. I know what to blame, but ain't that a shame? Bill Bailey, won't you please come home? So, everybody knows what her wishes are.
Someone's phone is ringing.
Nobody seems to know his response. Did Billy go home? So I got to thinking, I'll put myself in his shoes and come up with a verse which what I considered a logical response. And it's a clean verse, don't worry. It goes like this. Just notice. Sorry. I won't come home, dear lady. I won't come home, though you cry the cold day long. You threw me out that evening into the rain. Pneumonia was a pain. I hold no grudges, honey. I wish you well. I hope you don't end up alone. You can be swell, but truth be to tell, dear lady, I will not come home. No way in heaven, dear lady, I will not come home.
All right, great.
Hold it. Yeah. To be fair and balanced, and I got to thinking, there might be circumstances under which going back home might be the natural thing to do.
That's two for me.
So,
One more and I'm out.
I wrote another verse, in which he essentially says he'd be delighted to be reunited. And it goes like this. I will come home, dear lady, long to be home. Yes, I'll be there before long. I haven't done well lately. I hurt my back. Hurt so I can't hardly walk. I know that you won't mind, dear. I got some bills. Have to take a lot of pills. That's not my intent, but I'm incontinent. Dear lady, I will sure come home. Dear lady, I will sure come home. See you next Tuesday. Sweet baby, I will sure come home.
no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, Yeah, it's pretty clear I ain't no size 2, but I can shake it like I'm supposed to. I got that boom boom that all the boys chase, and all the right junk in all the right places. I see the magazine working that Photoshop. We know that stuff ain't real. Come on now, make it stop. If you got beauty, just raise them up. My mama, she told me don't worry about your size, because boys like a little more booty to hold at night. You know I won't be no stick figure silicone Barbie doll. So if that's what you're into, just go ahead and because you know I'm about that bass, about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, about that bass. I'm bringing booty back. Go ahead and tell me crazy. You know I'm just playing. I know you think you're fine, but I'm here to tell you every inch of you is perfect from the bottom to the top. Yes, my mama, she told me don't worry about your size, because boys like a little more booty to hold at night. You know I won't be no stick figure silicone Barbie doll. So if that's what you're into, just go ahead and move along, because you know I'm all about that bass. I'm all about that
Now, without further ado, Leslie Miller.
do an original song that has never been entitled yet, has never seen the light of day yet, because it is seeing the light of day as notes pop out of my head. I just sit there and they come. So that was one of those. For the last song, I want to play a song that my dad helped write. And it is a love song, and it actually made a flip side of a record, Oh Look at Me Now. And but it's called You Might Have Belonged to Another.